Everybody, this is Manda Arpita back again, and in this tutorial we're going to see about PLSQL programming, and we're going to apply that on stored procedures. So how is that going to be? The main thing to remember is there is a basic block of syntax for PLSQL which has three main blocks which are anonymous blocks, and those three main blocks are declaration, begin and exception, and begin ends with the keyword end. So the block would generally look like, look at this block, take into consideration from this declaration section. You have a declaration section wherein you declare all your variables, and then you have a keyword called begin, and inside that you write all your execution statements, like if you want to loop, you want to convert the values, you want to perform addition, everything is in begin. And there might be some exceptions in your program. So whenever an exception is caught in your begin block, the expression is received over here in the exception block, and that problem gets resolved. And every begin ends with an end. So end colon, and then you give a slash to exit out of this promo. And what is header? So in our case, for stored procedures, we use procedure as a header. So this part alone without ease from the declaration section to the end is an anonymous block, because this block doesn't have any name and it cannot be stored. With the procedure stored procedures, you can actually store it in your memory and retrieve it whenever you want when this procedure is created. So there is a header to create a procedure. So procedure gives the name for this block. So how do you create a procedure? So this is the syntax for creating a procedure. So it is going to be create, or replace will be an exception, because if you've already created a procedure called student, then this would replace that same thing. So for not getting an error, I just say create or replace procedure student. This is the name of the procedure. Every procedure will have a name. Okay. So whenever you're executing it, you use this name to execute this procedure. And in a procedure can have the parameters and sometimes might not have the parameters. So in this case, I have the parameters. I'm just going to explain the basic syntax and then we'll get into the problems, and it will be easy for us. And in student, the first thing is we can either get the inputs and the outputs. So inputs are represented by in and outputs are represented by out. And if you're doing both input and output together with that, and in that scenario you use in out. So these are the three variables which can be used over here. Now this is how the header looks like, and once that is done, here comes the concatenation part of the header and the anonymous block. So for the concatenation part, you can use either is or as. So present, I have used is. So once this is done, let me look at the question now. How do you create a procedure? So the first question would be, create a stored procedure. Okay, I need to create a procedure that displays the name and register number. So from this statement, this is clear that name and register number are the outputs given by this procedure of the students whose membership number is passed as a parameter. So we are already giving membership number in the parameter. That means membership number is the input. So when you're creating a procedure, you say create procedure, whatever the syntax is, create or replace procedure, procedure name. And inside the parameters, the first thing you need to do is you need to give the input or output. So let me choose giving the input first. So the input would be member number. So remember, you have a table called student wherein you have the student number, register number, student name, all these things. But you can have different names in the procedure, and that will not reflect the names in your table. So I give something called num, and I say that is an input and that is of type number, and comma. The second thing is name and register number, both of them are outputs. So I say name output varchar2, and then this signifies that name is an output and it is of type varchar. The same I do for register number. So the procedure is created, but now I need to say select from where. So as student name and student number are output, I need to give them in the select query. So there's one trick. So here I'm giving out for who, name and register number. So they have to be printed out, and that is why I am getting this from the already created table. So when I say, I'm going to show you the student table. It is going to be select star from student. So when you see over here I have the student name, here I have the student number. So these two are the things which have to be displayed when you enter the member number, right? So what I do is the syntax to concatenate, and I begin the query and I end the query. So before I begin and end, what I do is I select what are all the output, the name and the register number or output. But this is the name given in the procedure, and here you have a different name. So what I'm going to do when I'm retrieving data from the table, I give the name which is in the table alone. So in this table, I have student number and student name. So I say select student number, student name, student number, and I need to insert the student name value into name and student number value into number. So how do I do that? In the select query itself, I say select student name, student number into name, reg number. The student name assigned to name and student number is assigned to reg number. From which table? Student. And what is in the input, I'm going to compare that with the number. So I say where member number over here should be equal to member number over here. And then dbms underscore output dot put underscore line gives the output, displays the output. So I say name, this is the concatenation symbol, and I give some space and I say the register number. So both of them are displayed. So that is not displayed yet. When you execute this and you give a slash, this actually says the procedure is created. So to get the output, you say set server output on. This is mandatory. And after that, I say declare. I'm declaring two variables for the outputs. As we know, n and r. N and r have been selected over here, student name, student number from the table. And what is an input should be passed as an input here between the begin and end. So that is how I get it. You can do the same thing with a loop. You just use a for loop over here. I say for I in these numbers, I need to loop for student I till the end. So that is how I do. And I say end loop, end the loop first, and then I end the query. So then I get all the usernames and the register numbers between those two member numbers. And after this, I have my second query which says we have to give the stored procedure and receive the number of books like the rise in price. Okay, let me explain the question. So you're going to pass something called rise in price in your input, and that should increase the value in your actual table. So in my actual table, I'll show you in the beginning, the digital design book has the price 260 rupees. So I'll show you how PLSQ will actually change the price with this query. So I create a query, create a procedure like create or replace procedure, book details. So my first thing is going to be the input, that is raise in price in number, and I need to give the book name also, for which book name I'm actually increasing it. B name in, and the book number should be printed out so that I assure that book number is there in the table. So is a concatenation, and then I begin end. So what's happening inside is I'm updating the price over here, update table name, set price is equal to what is the actual price plus raise in price, and raise in price is an input which is given in your execution. And I compare the book name with B name, and I say DBMS output line, and I'm going to print the book number. So here I say set server output on, I declare end, and between that, what is my output? B number. So that should be in in a variable. So I declare it in a variable, and I say book details. That is the name of the procedure, book detail. And in the bracket, I said the raise in price is 10 for digital design. So the raise in price is 10 for digital design. That means it must be increased from 260 to 270. As you can see, later when I executed this, the price of digital design has become 270. So this is how it helped in increasing the price. And the next question is create a stored procedure which takes the issue date of membership and it prints the number of days. Okay, you can take the issue date of the member and you can say how many days he actually took the book. So I create a procedure for that. I take input as date and the output is number of days. I have a begin and end, and I select period into end days. So that is the output. So when I come over here in the begin, I say issue date, the date and the number is my input, and ND is the number of days. So you can see over here when I say to find, so it is saying 1 day. The user has borrowed that for 1 day. And the next query is create a, so now we have functions. Something about procedure is you cannot actually return values in procedure, rather you can print it on screen, but function is something which has a return value. So in this they're asking us create a function which counts total number of books having price more than 300. Let me explain the basic of function. Actually, you usually use the same syntax, create or replace function and the function name, and this is going to return some number, and the concatenation operator is, and after that you declare some variable. You don't need to write the word declare, that is not mandatory, and you have the same begin and end statements, and it follows as usual. So what happens in this is, I need all the number of books whose price is greater than 300. So I say create or replace function count books and return number is, and then I declare a variable called a, which is of number and have size 10, and I have a begin and end, and in between them I just execute a normal query which says select count book number. I need to see all the book numbers first, and then I'm counting all the books into a. So the number which is in count book number is getting stored in the variable a. Okay, from which table? From table book, where price is greater than 300, and then I return the value a. So by doing this, you'll not get the output. By doing this, you get a function created output, and then to get the output you say set server output on, and then I need to print the number of books. So I use the name of the function which I've created, and this gets stored in your dual. So I just say select count books from dual. In this count books, there's a variable called a, and then in that variable there is the count of books value which are greater than price 300. So that is what is written. So I have 5 books which is having price greater than 300, and then coming to my fifth query, it is like create a function which counts total fine to be paid by the members. Total fine to be paid by members would be something like sum of all the fines. So what do? I just find sum over here. So simply you just create or replace function. This is the name of the function, and I say it returns a value, right? So I say return number is, after the concatenation, it is mandatory that I declare a variable where it is stored. A is the name of my variable, number of 10 is the data type and the size of my variable. And after that I have a begin and end statements, and between them I have a simple select statement to get the sum of the fines. So I say select sum of fine into a. This variable alone changes. This into a alone changes. Into a means whatever is there in sum of fine, I want that value to be stored in my a from the table issue record and return that value a. So once that is done, the function is created, and after that I say set server output on, and as I've told you, the name of the function is getting stored in your dual. So, and this function has a variable a. So if you need the output, you just need to say select total fine from dual. So that is going to give me the output total fine 750, as you can see over here. So my last query is going to be create a function to display the member with maximum fine. So who is having the maximum fine? I can find it out with this query. So to create a function, you just say create or replace mem with max fine, that is the name of my function, and I say return number as usual, and I say use the keyword is to concatenate, and a number 10. This is the name of the variable which I've used in the function. So the function is going to contain this variable, and then I have a begin statement and end statement. And what is between begin and end is my normal subquery. I just write a subquery to retrieve the information of max fine. So here I need the member number of the person who actually has maximum fine. So I say select member number into a. So that is what my output should be. Okay. So select member number into a from issue record where fine is equal to, so I don't know what is the price, and the fine should be maximum of all the fines in the issue record. So I run a subquery telling that select max fine from issue record. So there is something called a QEE in our database architecture. It is called as query execution engine, and everything which is executed by the query execution engine actually follows the bottom up approach. So what is over here, the value is returned first. It finds the maximum value, and if it is 10, it places 10 over here, and where fine is equal to 10, that is the later statement which is executed as it is going above. So when I've done this, when I say end and a slash, the function gets created, and then I say set server output on, and then I'm ready for the output. To get the output, I use the name of the function, that is mem with max function, mem with max fine, max fine, and I select that from dual. So this function is going to give me the output of the person who is having the maximum fine. So this is the member number of that particular person. If I want the name, I can either select student name, student number, or any attribute which you like. So this is all about procedure and functions. Thanks for watching.